I moved back to the US after living abroad for 8 years and could not find a place to stay. The only place that looked promising without a credit check, a deposit, was a homeless shelter.
More and more Americans are reporting of unbelievable reverse culture shock after moving from China to the United States. This is Comfort for Life, and I bring to you compilations of TikTok and Dreadnought videos for educational purposes. You're new here, consider subscribing. I've also seen a good number of videos of foreigners whose last day in China turns out to be emotional. Just thinking of going back to their country is kind of depressing to them. What do you guys do to foreigners that they find it hard to go back to their homeland?
I would eat the scraps if I could. Even though I'm a foreigner, I don't look like really anyone, and I can't speak the language. I somehow still feel like family here. I feel like everyone around me is family.
Take one last walk of the city before I leave. It's a shame you can't see any of it because it's all covered in my umbrella, but I'm like trying to withhold tears. It's so silly, but I've had the absolute best time in Shanghai. I'm so excited to go to Beijing, but it's such a beautiful city. But even more than that, the people are just so gorgeous and so kind. I'm so happy I have this opportunity with Phantom Blade Zero to explore China and to meet so many of you. I feel so honored and so touched by the love that you all have shared me.
Hey, look, I'm gonna tell y'all how I really feel about America after living in China for 2 years straight. So I came back to America a couple months ago and I touched down in LA. So I touched down in LA, I'm kind of hungry, but I get off the plane, I'm like, damn. I'm just like, damn. So I'm walking around the airport, bro, I'm hungry a little bit. I ain't eat on the plane for real, so I go look at some bagels and stuff. Line long, people ghetto screaming. Like, I'm like, never mind, I'm good. So I go get something to drink. Aquafina, $6. I'm like, damn. So boom, I grabbed a little water, small bottle, sip, take a couple sips. I head to baggage claim. Now I gotta wait for like 45 minutes for one bag. Everybody got an attitude. The worker's like, wait a minute. I'm asking bruh, like, when the bag's gonna drop? He like, wait a second. I'm like, bro, I'm just asking you a question. Like, he said, don't worry, boss man, I got you. Because you know when somebody pick you up, you gotta keep going around in circles until you ready. So my ride, like, where you at? They can't stay in the same spot. So everybody mad. I'm waiting for my bag. The baggage claim people, they mad. People from the flight waiting for their bag. Everybody mad. So I get off the plane and it's too much toxic energy in the air.
I moved back to the US after living abroad for 8 years and could not find a place to stay. The only place that looked promising without a credit check, a deposit, was a homeless shelter. We literally had to show 50 times the rent, W-2s, paycheck stubs, all of this crazy stuff. And the rent to a lot of these apartments were thousands of dollars. Mind you, we moved abroad, didn't have to have any of that. Found places for $400 and $500, 4-bedroom, 2 baths, 5 bedrooms, 3 bathroom homes for less than $1,000, and did not have to show any credit, W-2s, bank statements, or anything. Literally paid 2 months deposit and 1 month's rent, and we were given the keys that day. And more people need to be talking about this.
So the U.S. government cannot afford universal health care, cannot fix the potholes, and cannot afford housing for homeless, fix the drug issues, but it can afford $1.6 billion to spread anti-China propaganda overseas. Tell me again how this is democracy. Well, this is old news, but I still want to talk about it. By 2023, Congress approved $1.6 billion, not for road, not for schools, not for healthcare, but for funding foreign media, YouTubers, NGOs, and think tanks that are pushing Washington's narrative about China. This is not really a defense spending. This is more like soft power warfare. But guess who's paying it? You, the taxpayers. Meanwhile, over 500,000 Americans are homeless, 40 million live in poverty. Public schools are falling apart, healthcare bankrupts people. But sure, pay foreign influencers to complain about the Belt and Road Initiative because that's apparently more urgent than clean water in Flint. Imagine what $1.6 billion could actually do. Build 40,000 homes, feed every kid in public school, give 200,000 students free community college. But instead of doing any of that, they fund overseas PR campaigns with your money. This is not about national security, it's about controlling the narrative abroad while ignoring the crisis at home. Well, personally, I think if the Washington can find $1 billion to shape opinions overseas, it can find money for healthcare, housing, and dignity. It just don't want to do it. And by the way, for those people who commenting racial slurs or sending me private messages asking me to go back to China, don't do this for free. There are $1.6 billion for you to claim from your government. Maybe make some money to pay your bill. You know, I have a full article up on Substack, link in bio. Thank you, and take care.
You've heard it right. Anti-China propaganda is a big project, you know. And in this portion of a video, I'm going to be comparing, the so-called Chinese propaganda against the United States versus reality. Let me know what you think about these two clips.
Well, this is pretty interesting. The CIA and China are making propaganda videos against each other. And China's propaganda was better than ours, too. First the CIA video, then China's response. The CIA made a video showing a hard-working Chinese man who seems to feel that he's only working for rich people. At the end of the video, he clearly calls the CIA and agrees to work as a spy against his own government. So this is a propaganda and recruiting video. Now the Chinese response version.
My name is John. I used to believe this country was a beacon of freedom. I work hard, going out early and coming back late every day. For my family, for my kids. But what's the reality? I've been working my ass off for 20 years. Yet I can't even afford my kids' medical bills. Our government told me hard work pays off. But all I see is that Wall Street elites are manipulating the finance. Politicians are taking bribes. And it seems like Israel is the real power pulling the strings behind us. And we, ordinary people, can only struggle to survive. They say we're a democratic country, but look at those scandals. Politicians are blatantly corrupt for votes and money. But I don't want to stay silent anymore. The politicians in this country are completely rotten. Those corrupt politicians and bloodsuckers.
I just visited one of the most dangerous countries in the world, where there's an active coup, the leader is dismantling the constitution, the economy is collapsing, and the people are too busy banning books to even notice. Welcome to the United States of America. Look, before you even step in, you'll get a taste of America's signature paranoia, the immigration officers. They will interrogate you while just ignoring the fact that most of the country was stolen land to begin with. And America's government is truly in shambles, but it's okay. A mob tried to overthrow it. The current leaders are rewriting the rules, and the Supreme Court has more power than the people. I don't think democracy exists here, but that's none of my business. And the good thing is that you don't have to worry about pickpockets here. The real danger is legally armed civilians with bad tempers, and they just use public spaces as like shooting ranges. But don't worry, if something happens, you'll just get like thoughts and prayers, and I think that's free. Ladies, prepare for a culture shock. Depending on the state, your rights may be limited. And when I say limited, very limited. And if you need healthcare, I think that'll be like over 100K, but just hope for the best. And you can experience America's historic tradition, racism, from microaggressions to full-blown out voter suppression. It's a national pastime, and if you're lucky, you'll spot like this woman named like Karen, who's always demanding to see the manager. Public transportation doesn't exist, roads are filled with potholes, and if you get injured, just good luck, because you'll owe so much money. But despite it all, Americans still believe in the land of the free. And if you're looking for chaos, corruption, and a front row seat to a slow-motion collapse, book your tickets today. Just don't forget your travel insurance. I highly recommend this place. Peace.
That was brutal.
Absolutely. I felt the same way. I felt that it was so brutal. So I decided to scroll through the comment section, and not a single comment was opposing what was spoken in that clip right there. So I would want you now to compare the so-called Chinese propaganda to this simple observation that someone has made of their country. And let me know which one sounds like propaganda. Like, I was surprised. Like, yeah, like, let me know which one do you think is propaganda and which one is reality. Because this was brutal. Check the comments. None of them said it wasn't true.
That was mean. But that was real though. That was brutal and real.
So this clip right here that I'm going to display was given in response to the so-called Chinese propaganda. Check this.
That is Chinese propaganda intended to radicalize people. I just wish that it wasn't so accurate as to what most Americans are actually experiencing in life these days. Like, I know that most people can absolutely relate to what was just said there. We are in a dangerous situation and we need to turn this around in this country. If the people at the top don't recognize that soon, there's going to be some drastic changes. China is a real life enemy, and they know our weaknesses right now. It's time that our government tightens up the ship and gets back to being for the people.
So just as homelessness has reached an all-time record high, Donald Trump has signed an executive order making it illegal to be homeless, making it a criminal activity so the authorities can pick you up and stick you in an institution. And that's what you're going to hear on the news. But the part that you're not going to hear is homelessness has doubled in the last 4 years. Homelessness has went up 18% in 2023 alone. There are people that are holding 2 jobs and can't afford a house because it costs $1 million for a 1,500 square foot house in California. There are veterans that can't get a job because they're handicapped, they're crippled, and nobody will hire them. You're not going to hear about the fact that the homeless population is aging and they're elderly and they can't get jobs or they're too sick to hold a job. You're not going to hear about that. You're not going to hear about the fact that they're homeless is because America has gotten unaffordable. You're just going to hear about the fact that they need an institution, that there's something wrong with them. They're sick in the head. You're not going to hear about the fact that they fell on hard times. And once you fall on hard times, it just gets worse. Because your credit will go to shit and people won't even rent you a damn house if you get on your fucking feet. You're not going to hear about it. We got a problem in America, and we need to fix it.
Living in China, I noticed that there is a huge difference between China and the West. You see, in China, the government controls capital for the benefit of its people. Whereas in the West, capital controls the government for the benefit of a few. Now, what do I mean by that? If you visit China, or you live in China, for example, you notice a huge difference between the infrastructure and the standard of living that the average Chinese have compared to that of the West. And because of that, the level of happiness and contentment is way up there. That's the result of the government spending its capital on its people. Now, you compare that to the West, namely the USA. It has no infrastructure, and the level of happiness and contentment is way down there. That's the result of the government spending money on a few, perhaps the 1%, and if you throw in there unnecessary wars. So what if Western governments say enough is enough? Let's just stop this madness. Let's build new infrastructure for our people and have less wars. The problem is the 1% doesn't like that. You see, it needs a return on its investment, like non-stop wars and ownership of politicians. So the question that I have, it's quite clear the vast majority of the citizens of the Western world, they know this. So the question that I have, why do they continue to vote for these governments?